脑子有病吧？我跟你说，那女的神经病才找你。你月收入4000，你找人家月收入8000，你还得有房有车。几千年来都没人要求你，凭啥要求我们呢？
没人要求，我要求，今天都得从我这儿都得要求。那为啥女的2、3千她都可以找男的1、2万，我这反过来4000找8000那都不容易？都是因为他们能生孩子，那没男的他也生不了啊。再者说，你看我这要求这写着呢，我生孩子跟他们家姓，给他们家传宗接代。
你生孩子，你能生吗？你从哪生啊？人家女的生吗？
啊，这是他生，我生了给他呀，可以不生，我这写着呢，可以不生，不要孩子的优先，要不要是女方说了算，女方要的话，我都配合他。
我都不要孩子了，我收入比你高，
那你
比你多，我要你有啥用啊？
那你说男的挣得多也不想要孩子，那要女的有啥用呢？
还不玩牌，多好！
不抽烟不喝酒不打牌，那不基本要求吗？会做菜咋了？现在哪个男的不会做菜？这你凭啥要彩礼呀？你还要20万？
我给他们家上面。
First of all, let's take this back. Here we have a lovely gentleman. Where is this? Chengdu province, probably in China. In China, yes. And he's asking for 200 yuan of a bride price. And now, anybody that has a problem with this is probably a misogynist. Anybody who thinks that today's empowered, strong, independent, modern woman cannot afford, especially in China, cannot afford 200,000 yuan is a misogynist. Because it's all about equality. And my thing is, the solution to feminism is more feminism. I suggest that gentlemen walk straight into it. Embrace the feminism. Bask in the feminism. And I think passport bros are too weak. The guys that are part of that movement, they're too easily intimidated and too easily pushed around. You got women on Instagram talking about men should be born in jail and work their way out. You got feminists talking about they'd rather have a beard than a man, be with a beard than a man. You have women out here talking about being in a relationship is embarrassing. Women talking about they should be charging $500 per date. And they say it unapologetically. But yet we have men around here scared, shaking in their boots because Anton Daniels tries to collectively blame them for the actions of one person. Simps and beta male guys trying to score points with the ladies that are calling them tricks and all kinds of things. And they're easily intimidated, easily shamed, because some men, especially in Western culture, are very fragile egos. So I crown the Asian men with the Masculinity Award of 2025 because they have completely destroyed the simp economy, which is pure masculinity, using feminist ideology and logic against the feminists themselves, which has infected South Korea, places like China, everywhere, Thailand, everywhere has been affected with this global idea of feminism because of social media, because of trends. The solution to feminism is simply feminism, really. Give them what they want. You want to be what we are, then you have to be equal. So this man here is saying that his bride price, and I always say men need to make a pilgrimage down to this marriage market down there in Chengdu province where all reality and delusion is checked. Trust me, you will find out quickly. So China had restrictions on the child births, obviously, with the society is a communist society. So in that society itself, there are actually more women than men, which makes these men's action even more powerful because the women you would think would be more valuable because it's actually more men and less women. Do you think the women would be more valuable? But not since they indoctrinated themselves with Western feminism. And this is the side effects of that. So without further ado, let's hear this gentleman's wonderful, beautiful demands. Salute to this brother here. He's demanding his price, which I think is fair.
你还要20万？
我给他们家上门当女婿啊，生孩子跟他们家姓，我肯定给要彩礼。
我缺你这一个姓啊，你咋那么脸大呢？我跟你说，要是有女的看上你，她就是大，你知道吧？不是谁能看上你啊？你挣4000，完了你给人家要8000，还得花钱养着你。
对呀，我上门嘛，我当上门女婿嘛，
上门女婿的养着你，
孝顺他父母，伺候他们嘛。
那不是你该做的吗？都说了你要上门，你都上人家家给人家当女婿了，一个女婿半个儿，你凭啥不孝顺人家父母啊？
是孝顺呢，那这都是我的条件吗？我还得有房有车，挣的比我多。
完了，你还要20万彩礼做婚后的保障，
那肯定得给我彩礼，那不然结婚1-2年之后他把我踹了，我啥也没有啊。现在这很多女孩子结婚都要彩礼吗？
那你
这不都是婚后的保障吗？这边10万20万不高，正常价我们这边。
你想挣这20万，你自个儿挣不行吗？你非得要彩礼，我想不通，你这人。
那女孩上门不都要彩礼吗？
So the
you heard
issue,
so high
issue
that
goes
no
with the shaming on
You heard
you. So to China and varnish, okay?
不要彩礼吗？
那你
这不都是婚后的保障吗？这边10万20万不高，正常价我们。
He said basically the women are asking for 10,000 plus yuan for bride price. And she turns around and says, you can't earn this yourself? And he said, why can't these women earn it themselves? They're asking the men for these prices. And let's continue on, man.
这边
你想挣这20万，你自个儿挣不行吗？你非得要彩礼，我想不通，你这人。
Well, you stop it there. You said, if you want this 20,000 yuan, can't you earn it for yourself? You insist on asking for a bride price. I really can't understand what is wrong with you.
那女孩上门不都要彩礼吗？
那女孩生孩子，你能生孩子吗？女孩坐月子，你要坐月子吗？
那她没男的，她也生不了啊。我这写着呢，不要孩子的优先，还要孩子我都配合他生，还要生了的话得跟他们家姓。
屌丝女不知道啥叫屌丝女啊？
屌丝女那都是没钱的，没房没车的那种，都别过来打扰我了，我也插不话。
现在的男生都不傻的，相反。
I'm telling you, men nowadays are not stupid at all. On the contrary, they are extremely clear-headed. Clear-headed to what extent? They dare to propose splitting the bill evenly on dates. They dare to ask you to check premarital medical examination records before registering for marriage, and even after marriage they will ask about your savings. In the past, it was always men chasing women. What is it like now? If a man does not chase me, I have to chase him instead. In the past, people dated for a year or even longer, and a man might not even dare to hold hands. Now, after 3 dinner dates, if you still do not confirm the relationship, he will move on to the next one. And that is not even talking about marriage. In the past, men had to prepare the house and the car for marriage, while women only needed to show up. Now I am telling you, it is no longer like that. The market rule now is that you must bring a dowry, and even a small dowry is not acceptable. If the woman has no dowry, do not even think about getting a single yuan of bride price. Adding names to the house deed? Which man would agree to that? Impossible. Even if he stays single, is it not nice to spend his own money eating, drinking, and traveling? So times have changed. Men are no longer as foolish as before. So I want to say one honest thing to women who want to make a big profit through marriage. You really need to understand yourself clearly before looking for a partner.
Men nowadays are frighteningly clear-headed, and they would rather remain single for life than get married. Even if they look for a partner, it is not for marriage. Yesterday, there was a man born in 1989 who contacted me. He had a short marriage and no children. He asked whether it was okay to just date without getting married. I said that was definitely not okay. He said marriage is too troublesome, and that getting married or not is basically the same now. I asked him in what way.
So basically, I don't know who's more gangster, whether the South Korean men or the Chinese men. I don't know who's more gangster out of the bunch, because the South Korean men have just gone, because they had a huge problem with feminism. I mean, huge. And their reaction is actually, I think, is very extreme, because they travel from borders. You talk about these American passport bros. The South Korean men are like passport bros. Those dudes be out. They go around other places, the Philippines, Laos, all over the place. They completely checked out and disrupted that dating market. I mean, they don't care about these feminists. They just move on to greener pastures. So I think when you see these shaming of men, a lot of times we are blinded and we're not given a global perspective of what's going on and how men move in other cultures, which is why I created this live stream, is to really expose and open really the portal to what's happening globally This is not just a Western problem, an American problem. It's a global thing.
It is the same. He said, without registering marriage, can people still live together? Yes. Without marriage, can they still have children? Yes. Can the child still be registered in the official family record? It seems that before it was not possible, but now it is. Then what use is a marriage certificate? Then he also said that the Datong engagement case is a very obvious example. Even if she is your wife, as long as she is unwilling to have marital relations with you, forcing it would violate a woman's will and be illegal. But she can sleep with someone else, and you can do nothing about it. After marriage, she can choose not to have children, which is called reproductive freedom. In his previous marriage, he spent all his savings to marry a wife, and they divorced in less than a year. He said men have no security in marriage at all, only confusion and exhaustion. The only security is that at divorce, at least half of the property is still left to him. He said when the cost of marriage is far greater than happiness, and the moral level of the marriage partner is lower than that of women in nightclubs, then there is no need to get married at all. It seems he was truly driven crazy by reality. Men, do you agree with what he said?
找鸡毛媳妇儿啊，处鸡毛对象啊，你有钱没地儿花了，你是不是见懂了？家里缺祖宗啊！你别以为结了婚领了证就你媳妇儿了，你挣不来钱不得离婚呀！你自己留着钱花，自己养老，它不香吗？吃好喝好，存钱养老，那明智之举。
I'm sorry. This dude is completely gone rogue. But I mean, these dudes don't care. And I think that's inevitably what happens and when men react in a masculine way. Because how much more disrespect do you think men can take before they completely just like, you know what, F it. And I think that's what they're not calculating, that if you push men hard enough, you disrespect them, you create an environment where the laws are unfair in a code. You know, this is what men are going to do. Men are going to react and not give a rat's ass. And you still try to shame men into compliance with a rigged game or a social environment that is not equitable, or when men's needs are not being met, or nobody's even talking about what men want. You're going to end up with situations like this. And salute to my man right here. He's gone. He's just, he don't give a damn.
不当舔狗、不谈恋爱、不结婚的日子到底有多潇洒？ How carefree life is when you are not a simp, not dating, and not getting married. Today is my official first day quitting the simp world, and my life has already taken off. I slept until noon, went downstairs to find a restaurant, ordered 2 solid dishes, drank a bottle of beer, and it only cost 45 yuan. If you spent that 45 yuan being a simp, sending red packets to someone else, I guarantee that some fairy girl would curse you until you could not find your way home. People around you would also say you are stingy. But this small amount of money that others look down on can buy us a hearty meal. Is that not great? Today,
Hey guys, make sure you hold on, let's see what's in the house. Guys, hey, salute to you. Salute, man. He said congrats to him. Yeah, he's like, to hell with this nonsense. He's not, these guys like, there's a reaction to all this stuff. Hey guys, make sure you hit the like button. Hit the like button. Let me make sure everything's turned on here. Gentlemen, please hit the like button. Likes are free. We got like 22 in the house. We got 8 likes. Let's move the likes on up and get some support. And this is what happens. And I think what people don't realize, the type of what men can live with. Men can live with some minimum standards. So this dude's investing all his money into himself now. When the juice is no longer worth the squeeze, this is what happened to men. Men, like, man, kick rocks. You can't shame. Men respond to incentives. And when there's no incentives in the environment, you can't shame men, especially when they have had negative lived experiences. And the constant hate is coming at them constantly through media, to social media, to everything else, and their own on-the-ground experiences. they end up in a situation where they become like at these particular men in Asia. And it gets even deeper, you know. But guys, make sure you hit the like button. 28 in the house. Hit the like button, gentlemen. Again, donate to the stream if you want to. We're going to get into the content. I got 11. 28 in the house, I got 11. Let's get this past 20 with the likes. Because we want to keep independent content out here. This is a male advisory channel. Yes, winter is here. The blizzard's here. And I've got to give the 2025 Masculinity Award to my Asian brothers in China, in South Korea. China and South Korea brothers, salute to you. The Japanese brothers is up there too, but I'll get to them later. I got to get the Chinese brothers, the masculine Chinese and South Korean brothers, get the Masculinity Awards for 2025.
Hey, I officially decided that from now on, every single yuan I earn will be spent on myself. I am already 35 years old. As long as I work one day as an ordinary employee, no matter how hard I try, I will never be able to get married in this lifetime. Since that is the case, then let it go. Eat and drink well every day, and become a carefree lifelong bachelor. I used to desperately want to get married. I skipped breakfast and ate instant noodles at night, living like a nobody. Now that I have given up on marriage, every meal has meat and alcohol. If marriage makes me so miserable, and being single makes me this happy, then why must I get married?
看了今天这个视频，有些女生可能真的要彻底破防了。
After watching today's video, some women may completely break down because men are about to awaken collectively. Have you watched the drama Why He Is Still Single? The male lead played by Wallace Hu goes shopping alone, travels alone, eats fancy meals alone, and enjoys life alone. While you are still fantasizing about a prince on a white horse coming to marry you and pay off your family debts, Capital has already begun encouraging men to spend money on themselves. Earn your own money and spend it yourself. For women who are unwilling to grow together with men and only want to enjoy ready-made success, who complain every day that he does not spend money on them and does not provide emotional value, then why should men get married? Your wishes are about to come true. For women who want to get married, the opportunities left for you are truly running out. I have told you before, read more books and watch fewer romance dramas. They do no good. Even the country is worried for you and has issued policies recognizing cohabitation as family members, which is also a final effort to help women secure marriage opportunities. You are still stubbornly resisting. I will not even mention the harsher realities. Digest this carefully and grow up quickly, or one day you will not even have a place to cry.
现在有很多男生都不主动追女生了，你怎么看？
在这个环境下的话，都考虑付出跟产出比吧。追求不一定会有一定的回报，会达到自己想要的结果，然后就躺平了呗。躺平了也很正常。其实单身也挺好的，单身也蛮舒服的。好不容易我有假期，我自己做点喜欢的事情，我赚到钱了，我自己花不香吗？我干嘛还要去承受另外一个人或者是双向情感上面的负担？觉得会有一定压力吧。大家可能都比较活的，其实也比较通透，自己的开心就好了呗。
其实中国的男性早就应该觉醒了，早就应该学会爱自己了。
Chinese men should have awakened long ago and learned to love themselves. Just like women who carefully refine themselves, get stylish haircuts, groom their eyebrows, right? Men can also learn to use makeup, buy a good pair of glasses, buy 2 sharp suits, and make sure the shirts are silk or pure cotton. Women love themselves so much. Why do you not love yourself enough? Why do you have to spend...
Now he's taking it a little too far, man. Come on, bro. Ain't nobody wearing no makeup. He lost his mind.
money on them? What kind of society is this now? The money I earn should be spent on myself. First, invest in yourself. Remember, when you become an excellent person, especially when your appearance is refined and polished, women actually speak to you with fear and caution. I remember my father once told me a saying, "Cars block your path, clothes intimidate people." I did not understand it before, but later I did. Every day I wore a suit and tie, and neighbors would say, "Wow, you look so sharp today, going to negotiate business?" Or ask if I reported to a new job. Dressed so well. In the beginning, when I drove a small Toyota Corolla, countless people looked down on me. Later, when I drove a luxury car, I felt very confident talking to women. especially when you take out the key, open the door, and get in. That confidence is real. But my passenger seat has never had any woman sitting in it. I never let anyone touch or drive my car. I am afraid someone might plant a listening device or something like that. When you truly love yourself, you are extremely confident. If you do not love yourself, you will find that all your investments lead to nothing. The greatest investment
we
in
have
life.
we have to go back to the gangster in this, man. I look at this video, right? And let's see what she has to say.
Behind this. In 2024,
你发现了吗？现在中国男人宁愿躺平摆烂，也绝对不当舔狗。
have you noticed that Chinese men would rather lie flat and rot than ever be simps? What painful data lies behind this? In 2024, national marriage registrations were only 6.106 million couples, the lowest in 45 years. More strikingly, the proportion of men choosing lifelong singlehood is 24 times that of women. It is not that men do not want to love, but exploitative one-sided relationships have completely awakened them. If you love her, buy her luxury bags. Where the money goes, the heart goes. Capital binds commodities with emotions and raises the cost of relationships. On Valentine's Day, transferring 1,314 yuan is considered decent. Lipstick and perfume must be luxury brands. Gift prices matter more than sincerity. Then come houses, cars, and bride prices. The Dadong engagement case made many people realize that effort does not necessarily bring results and may only lead to ruin. So men began to save themselves. In 2024, the gaming industry exceeded 300 billion yuan in value with continuous growth. Outdoor sports businesses increased by 27,000, with a growth rate of 51%. Fishing and hiking became new trends. Men spent money on themselves, while the female consumption market entered a cold winter. E-commerce cosmetics retail sales were 43.4 billion yuan, down 26.4% year-on-year. One luxury brand closed 6 directly operated stores in a single year. Box office revenue dropped from 54.9 billion yuan in 2023 to 42.5 billion yuan in 2024. Even more ironic are the double standards of the matchmaking market. If a man has no house, no car, earns 4,000 yuan a month, but demands a woman with a house, a car, and an income of 10,000 yuan, with children taking the mother's surname, he would be ridiculed as a freeloader. But when the genders are reversed, it becomes a basic female requirement. If equality is just a slogan, then it is better to turn around and love yourself. If you treat me well, I will repay you double. If you are perfunctory, I will turn and leave. Are Chinese men really avoiding marriage? Or do they simply refuse to be humble simps anymore and only want equality and respect in relationships?
Why are Chinese men becoming increasingly clear-headed, no longer clinging desperately, no longer buying gifts or sending red packets? Because men have realized that gifts are useless. If a woman truly likes me, she will stay even if I spend nothing. If she does not like me, no matter how much I spend, I am just supporting someone else's girlfriend. Another thing is that many men now do not invest without certainty. If you do not confirm the relationship, sorry, I will not spend a single yuan on you. So many women feel conflicted.
We got to go back to my man in the beginning, man. This dude right here, he gets the I think you missed this one, but this dude in the beginning, we got to play him again, man. He gets the masculinity award of the year. This dude is asking for 200,000 yuan in bride price. We got to watch this again, brothers. Just this one section. I got to give him his props. This dude's like, bump it.
脑子有病吧！我跟你说，那女的神经病才找你。你月收入4000，你找人家月收入8000，你还得有房有车。几千年来都没人要求你，凭啥要求我们呢？
没人要求，我要求，今天都得从我这儿都得要求。那为啥女的2、3千她都可以找男的1、2万，我这反过来4000找8000那都不容易？都是因为他们能生孩子，那没男的他也生不了啊。再者说，你看我这要求这写着呢，我生孩子跟他们家姓，给他们家传宗接代。
你生孩子，你能生吗？你从哪儿生啊？还得人家女的生吗？
啊，这是他生了，我生了给他呀，可以不生，我这写着呢，可以不生，不要孩子的优先，要不要是女方说了算，女方要的话，我都配合他。
我都不要孩子了，我收入比你高，挣的比你多，我要你有啥用啊？
那你说男的挣得多也不想要孩子，那要女的有啥用呢？
还不玩牌，多好
不！抽烟不喝酒不打牌，那不基本要求吗？会做菜咋了？现在哪个男的不会做菜？
这你凭啥要彩礼呀？你还要20万？
我给他们家上门当女婿啊，生孩子跟他们家姓儿，我肯定得要彩礼。
我缺你这一个姓儿，你咋那么脸大呢？我跟你说，要是有女的看上你，她就是大，你知道吧？不是谁都看上你啊！你挣4000，完了你给人家要8000，还得花钱养着你。
对呀，我上门嘛，我当上门女婿嘛。
上门女婿得养着你，
孝顺他父母，伺候他们嘛。
那不是你该做的吗？都说了你要上门，你都上人家家给人家当女婿了，一个女婿半个儿，你凭啥不孝顺人家父母啊
？Yes, he's not only asking for money, he's asking for does she have a car? She has to have a house. All kinds of stuff he's asking for. He's doing money. He's asking for the whole package. Forget money. He's going all in.
就是那这都是我的条件吗？我还得有房有车，挣的比我多。
完了，你还要20万彩礼做婚后的保障？
那肯定得给我彩礼，那不然结婚1-2年之后他把我踹了，我啥也没有啊。现在这很多女孩子结婚都要彩礼，
那你
这不都是婚后的保障吗？这边10万20万不高，正常价我们这边。
你想挣这20万，你自个儿挣不行吗？你非得要彩礼，我想不通，你这人。
那女孩上门不都要彩礼吗？
那女孩生孩子，你能生孩子吗？女孩坐月子，你要坐月子吗？
那她没男的，她也生不了啊。我这写着呢，不要孩子的有钱，还要孩子我都配合他生，还要生了的话得跟他们家姓。
屌丝女不知道啥叫屌丝女啊？
屌丝女那都是没钱的，没房没车的那种，都别过来打扰我了，我也差不多。
现在的男生都不傻的，相反。
Yeah, let me stop that. I just had to play that section, man. I had to show my man. And how did we get here? And I think we get here in the West. Because you know what, I see a lot of shame towards these guys that are part of that passport movement. What I wanted to show is realistically, they accept a lot of abuse from. How did we get these? Again, all of these movements and all of these things are just a reaction to the current environment. You know, this is what's going on in the West, and women can get out here and make videos like they make videos like this. This is how we got here, okay? When you look at these videos, this is the type of nonsense that go on in the West. And they want to know why they have movements like Passport Bros or all these other movements going on. And they don't understand. They don't want to talk about the reaction to some radicalized feminist ideology. Like women get out here and they say things like this and nobody checks them for it. And this disdain and hatred towards men. And they only focus on the reaction, the symptoms of the virus, which is, you see red pill, you see Passport Bros, you see manosphere, you see all these symptoms of a virus, but nobody ever addresses the virus itself because we live in a gynocentric environment. And women do 80% of the spending and shopping, and they just don't hold women accountable for saying and doing things, except the only reason why they care now is because the men not participating in society affects women. That's what all the Scott Galloways and all of them about. So when we look at these types of content and you listen to these types of just straight misandry.
Men should have to start in jail and then earn their way to freedom.
I honestly think men should start in jail and work their way out based on the things that they say and the actions that they do.
Saying that men should be put in jail when they're born and earn the right to get free, I completely agree with that.
I think love that idea.
All right, welcome back to another video of Overreacting. No book of, but I go by the name of Eli. As always, we got Jew with us.
What it do? It's your boy Jew.
Move on, get to the clips.
start in jail and work their way out based on the things that they say and the actions that they do.
Saying that men should be put in jail when they're born and earn the right to get free, I completely agree with that.
I think love that idea because it's like you need to earn your place out here. You do, in my opinion. You do, and it should be treated as if they're on probation for a while. Like one strike, you're back. Yeah, even when they're out.
To the creator that said men should start in jail and prove their way out, and to the woman that took it a step further and said men all need to start at 0 and then work their way up.
God damn it! Nah, E, you got to start, bro. Because
I'm not sure what is.
So,
Jail and prove their way out.
So this is the type of rhetoric that's tolerated in the West regarding men, and again, and they want to talk about these passport bros or whatever the hell they try to talk about and try to shame men. When in reality, we live in a misandrist environment, you know, and this is the reaction is never the problem. They focus on red pill and manosphere. Why don't you try treating men with kindness and respect and decency, you know, and not based upon the reactions or the actions and behavior of the individual men that you have chosen in your life. And that would be a first step in the right direction in terms of healing the problems or bridging the gap between men and women, but they won't do that. So we have this type of nonsense and this type of rhetoric, you know, and that's what creates most of the problem. It goes unchecked. But we looked at the Chinese men, and we're going to move right along to my brothers and because South Korea has had a huge feminist problem too, man. They got real bad over it. That's why the birth rate is so low. Yeah, let me X that out. Hold on 1 second. I gotta get my man up here. Hold on 1 second, gentlemen. Hey guys, make sure you hit the like button. Definitely make sure you hit the like button. Salute to the passport, OG. Let me share this video by, there we go. Let me make sure I put that link in here. Copy. I'm gonna give my brother some credit. Paste. So this video he did, and it really addresses what's been going on in even South Korea itself and what is happening in their culture and why so many of their men have completely checked out. And salute to the passport, OG. Again, another one of the good brothers out here in these YouTube streets.
A lower class man that he can't afford meat or fruit, he will probably lower his... In South Korea, if you tell a lower class man that he can't afford meat or fruit, he will probably lower his head and stay silent. But if you tell him he is sexually repressed, he might throw 2 punches at you on the spot. Because after the collapse of the so-called simp economy, Korean men did not become sexually repressed. In fact, they collectively entered an era of sexual excitement and liberation never seen before.
No, that outfit is an act of desperation.
Yeah, it don't
and
make
any
no
woman of
sense.
respectability knows that.
It just don't match with how she's been promoting herself to me.
I don't mean to sound like a but I feel like we're in a sassy man epidemic.
Thank you. Speaking of a so-called sassy man epidemic.
In Seoul's famous bar district, every night you can see countless Korean guys dressed more carefully than the women themselves, covered in luxury brands, designer bags, Vivienne Westwood bracelets, diamond earrings. They clearly work out, and they walk around approaching women everywhere. The bubbly tone in their voices is standard. They open with a sweet confession.
Ever since I was 13, my biggest problem has been just to find the right road to get to that rainbow that everybody talks about.
Hi, I've been watching you for a while. You're really beautiful. Are you a model? Can I have your number? Women approached by them, if they want to, can easily start a sweet short romance with these oppa.
I really have a lot of good feelings.
But the deadline is usually 1 day. If the girl shows any intention of a long-term relationship or even marriage, these oppas instantly block all her contacts. They vanish at the speed of light.
So these guys are not even to the point where they're even engaging these women for relationships anymore. It's just hookup culture. So the actual relationship have been killed, destroyed by feminist ideology in South Korea. So the gentlemen have adapted and changed their whole game strategy. Let's continue.
Everything I tell you to do is for the best.
This is what happens with the new generation of Korean men who, after the collapse of the simp economy, went through a kind of self-liberation. Total deresponsibilization and complete rejection of marriage. They refuse to take on family responsibilities. They don't want to buy a house or a car. Every cent they earn is invested in enhancing their own male attractiveness.
I feel like we're in a sassy man epidemic.
And they do this without any guilt while engaging in adult content.
From a certain point of view, you could call what's happening in Korea a sassy man epidemic. But if you really look at it closely, it just looks like their era of game. Guys are learning how to chat girls up, have a fun night with them, and relinquish all of the responsibilities that come with the long-term relationships.
Of course, for many Korean men, instead of investing in appearance and flirting, it's simply easier to go straight to prostitution. They believe that with low wages, sky-high housing prices, and rising dowries, there is no longer any way to build long-term intimate relationships with women. So they choose to simply quit the game, lie flat socially, and become 7-spotted ladybugs. Enjoy each day as if it were the last. That's why, after the collapse of the simp economy, the sex industry in Korea exploded.
One particular characteristic of the way we do things in the West is using a kind of doublespeak. There is an open prostitution, but you don't call it that.
Yes.
Young ladies say,
so confused when a text me talking about I miss you, because why you not outside my door with some roses and some money?
But instead of calling that what it actually is, we use veiled words like dating and courting when it's just pretty much veiled prostitution.
In Seoul alone, dozens, maybe hundreds, of places offering 1-by-3 services appeared. In the Yeongjungpo district, the glass rooms are packed, Japanese-style baths, corporate KTVs, everything is always full. The local market became so insufficient for this new wave of male excitement that, after exhausting Mongolia and other destinations, Korean men discovered a new prostitution hub, Laos.
The point of this video is not to speak in support of pros or paying for the service. It's actually about this doublespeak that we use when young ladies go on their backpacking trips to Europe or their girls' trips to the Caribbean, and they come back and, oh, girl, you're living your best life. But when men do something very similar, it's often painted in a very negative light. And what's, of course, interesting is that that negative light does not exist in this particular situation in Korea. They're just straight up about it. Hey, this...
Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure I give this video its like. Yeah, I already gave it its like. Let's continue. Salute the passport OG.
This is about business here, baby.
In the capital, Vientiane, there are already 14 new Korean-run brothels, along with Korean KTVs and emperor-style massage parlors. There are direct flights to Vientiane every day, and every plane carries its share of Korean men going there to have fun. These Korean boys even created a slogan, Better pay for an 18-year-old Laotian girl than spend a single cent on the Korean saints.
Not a woman's role to help you build your empire because that's what your father is for. Your father was supposed to pass down something to you.
Men need to date within their tax bracket and stop getting mad that the woman they want has high standards. You don't walk into a luxury store and get mad that the prices are high. You can either build up your money and wait to buy what you want or shop where you can afford. Dating works the same way.
Better pay for an 18-year-old Laotian girl than spend a single cent on the Korean saints.
You got pins going on. Go ahead, Sean. You can fix it up. And then the trap. Y'all see it. I'll call y'all back. $2.50 a pan. Or even $40 for the smaller ones.
Charging $250 for a pan of chitlins or $40 for a quote-unquote small doesn't change the fact that they're chitlins. And putting them in a sandwich doesn't change the fact that you're eating an ish sandwich. You could dress it up any way you want to, but it still is what it is.
But that's on the way you at.
Boy, in the bathroom?
Oh.
It's bad, boy. Oh.
Man, come on, man. Don't do that, man. They were talking about going to the party last night. What's wrong with you? Hey,
I don't even sorry. I apologize for putting y'all in my business like this, but it's going bad right now for you, but
What's your,
it's going bad for your boy right now, son.
What you have, man?
Trying to help my crazy uncle out, man. He's trying to start a family business.
Yeah.
Ooh, hold on.
Hey, look, it's 2026. Time to move on from this type of eating.
So your stomach toe up?
He got a food truck. Ooh. He got a food truck over here in the project.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. In the project by my grandmama's house. I think he got a food truck over there.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay.
Hey, Black Tony, rock.
He said a chitlin cheese steak, son.
Chitlin cheese steaks.
Yeah.
Hey, Black Tony.
It's cheese steak with just cheese, onion, and chili meat.
Chili meat. Chitlins. Did he say chitlins? Yes.
Yeah. Chitlin cheese steak, son.
Cheese, onions, and chili meat.
No, chitlins and cheese and onions, son.
Chitlins, cheese, and onions.
No matter if you garnish this with a pickle or some parsley garnish, at the end of the day, we all know what this is. It is an ish sandwich. And even if you call it a Philly cheesesteak, it's still a chitlin sandwich.
No, that outfit is an act of desperation.
Yeah, it don't
and
make
any
no
woman
sense.
of respectability knows that.
It just don't match with how she's been promoting herself to me.
How? What does she promote herself otherwise at? This is the picture I was waiting on. This picture is a precautionary tale.
That's a lot of has-been. Well, no.
That's you. I'm glad you said it before I did.
Yeah.
This picture is what you don't want to be at age. And I love Claudia Jordan, but I'm just keeping it real, man. I look at the women in this picture and I'm like, I can't believe they would take a picture together. These are all women who could not hold down a home with a man.
When I speak of our double speak in the West, this is a good example. These young ladies will go on podcasts and tell young ladies live your best lives. And from the time that they were 18 until now in their late 40s, I guess, their mid 40s, they can essentially say, hey, I'm a boss chick and I'm not going to settle. And at the same time, they've had different exploits with a lot of different men. And they're telling young ladies how to move in the dating space. And those young ladies are looking up to them. Of course, men in the same situation have to be very guarded with our words, and we have to still call them queens, and they're beautiful, and they're a prize. But we tell men every day, if you're short, if you don't have enough money yet, if you're wearing certain clothes, if you don't have your life together, you're still dusty. And so if that's the game, it's this double speak that you're telling young ladies that no matter what they do, they're still a queen, and men, no matter what they do, you're dusty until you achieve a certain status. Well, you can see what the Koreans are doing about that.
But here comes the question. Why, after the collapse of the simp economy, did Korean men not become repressed, but instead hyperstimulated? To understand this, we need to know how sexual repression is created. In short, the state and the capitalists work together to endlessly increase the cost for lower-class men to access the marriage market. Countless young men need to buy a house, a car, pay high dowries, not to mention the wedding party, the ceremony company, the photos. And the state and capital collect tax after tax at each step. But when Korean men woke up, they began spending all their money only on themselves, regaining control of their own consumption. And they ended up discovering something shocking. The cost of accessing sexual resources is absurdly low. So low that many Korean women, unable to obtain security through marriage, began to capitalize their own bodies.
Korean men say tomato, Corey Holcomb says tomato. They're saying the same message.
All women who could not hold down a home with a man. Now, did I say something wrong? Every woman in that picture is not able to be with a man, and the nakedest got all the answers if you let her tell it. Is she the nakedest on the picture? Shame.
That's crazy.
He's got a point there.
That's the concept.
A bust down. This is a bust down jubilee. I look at all of the silicone in that picture, and all I'm saying to you is this: our young girls coming up don't need this as an example of how grandmama's supposed to be.
The result is inevitable. Many simply give up. They give up on the game, on expectations, on traditional roles, on sacrifices that never return as reciprocity. And they enter a completely new way of living, where the focus is no longer family, marriage, or building wealth, but emotional survival and strategic individualism. And here is the crucial point. This is not about men who don't want to grow up. It's about men who finally understood they were being invited into a theater where the ending had already been written from the start. Work more, pay more, give more, and receive less. All while the system, this perfect lover, assures women that, deep down, they will always have someone to rely on, with or without a man.
As men from the West, we have to realize that in some form or fashion, we are in competition with the state. It's not just the amenities that come in terms of scholarships and all kinds of bonuses that help young ladies achieve equity in society or equality, however you choose to look at it. But it's also the assurance that these young ladies who live their best lives in their 20s, in their 30s, and maybe into the 40s, know that there's a safety net for women, that the government's going to offer them some amenities to make sure that they land safely. And if they do choose to be with a man and a man does sign that contract with the state, she can use the state to extract the resources necessary to make sure that she gets her soft landing. And so, of course, this means that men have to produce, which men have always produced. But men used to produce for wives, and you were offering him a steak. And that man was saying, hey, I'm willing to work for a steak if that's what's on the table. But how do you get from that steak to these young ladies, these middle-aged ladies here? I'm not saying that they're chitlins. I'm saying that compared to 18, 19, 20-year-old young lady who wants to get married and doesn't have a lot of baggage in the past, and you're going to compare that young lady to these women who are not only saying that they want a man that's a high-value man, they want even more than that. And that man has to bring all of that to the table, and he's getting the equivalent of a woman who's given a lot of free access to men that weren't her husband. And so if that's the game, if that's what you're offering, then why wouldn't guys in Korea say, well, I'll just do the same thing you're doing, and I'll run game, and I'll get my access, my fun time, and we'll call it a day. I mean, many men would love to be a husband, but what comes with being a husband is that decades of provision. You're going to be on the hook for making sure that her and the kids are going to land softly. And if you're going to tell guys that that's the quote unquote prize, and young ladies are out here saying, you got to step to me and pay X, Y, and Z, in order to have the freedom or the ability to be with me, then guys are going to say, well, what's in it for me? And what you're seeing in Korea is something that is starting to spread around the world. Hey, if I can't find what I'm looking for, and you're offering me a chitlin sandwich when I'm looking for a steak, then I'm just going to go somewhere else where I can get a steak. Or better yet, if I'm going to stay here and eat chitlins, I'm just going to pay the chitlin price up front and keep it moving.
And again, it makes a lot of logical sense. So this is happening on a global front, on the global level, where a lot of guys are realizing the juice ain't worth the squeeze. So when I talk about things and when I see certain individuals come in and shame certain men or try to collectively shame men for the actions and behaviors of individuals, I just like, come on, man, that's not going to work. Because again, needs drive behavior. Me and the kosher condition, we talk about it a whole lot, is that if you're not providing value, or no, you're not talking about what men want or what men need or what men don't get out of relationships, what is the incentive for men to get into the relationship? They assume that men, and when we talk about inflation, we talk about men always wanting men to be better for what? For who? And what is at the end of that rainbow is for most time a woman that's not even measures up to anywhere close to a pimple on our grandmother's ass. So we're getting men, asking men to get better for worse is a terrible idea. Now, that's why when I talk to men, I talk about them getting better for themselves and their own personal freedom and enjoying life on their own terms. Because if you add the women equation in there, you're going to end up with a bunch of homeless men. You have to have certain things in place in terms of the society, in terms of how it treats men, the disrespect towards men, and addressing men needs, period. Because we got a one-sided equation, and all these guys that are coming out and trying to pretend like they care about men that are just agents of the gynocracy don't really care about the needs of men, because everything turns back into what men are not doing in terms of making themselves better to serve women. Not about men and what they need to do for themselves as men. It's about whatever you have to do to be better so you can serve women and be disposable for the society itself, where I think the conversation is lost, you know. Yeah, this is what brother said. He said, shaming a capitalistic black man for seeking more bang for his buck is childish, and I will be in Venezuela as soon as the border is open. And I talked about relationship capitalism, and that's the philosophy on this channel is relationship capitalism. It talks when it comes to relationship. Let those who compete and offer the most value will be chosen. It's just that simple. And, you know, I'm loyal to performance. My loyalty is to performance, period. Respect and performance. At the end of the day, you have to live. You have one life to live. And people can't tell you what decisions you have to make and who you marry and who you're with. You're going to have to live with that person. You're going to have to put your resources on the line. So would I listen to anybody telling me who I should marry and who I should be with and whatever else when they don't have to pay the price? They don't have to live in that house with that person. So it's your job as a man to put yourself in the best situation possible, but economically, financially, mentally, and everything else. That's why I came up with the term of relationship capitalism. You know, and nobody shops at a business or a store that offers them poor customer service. And that's the ideals that I live by. And I wanted to really highlight the Asian men because everybody thinks this is just a Western situation or just all about men and getting box and pre-owned box and all that stuff. It's just an environment and a culture that is consistently disrespectful towards men and just disregard totally what men want. Men's needs, men's desires, how to pour into men, what value is being offered to men, and expect men to just always step up to the plate and always be better for worse. And that's the ultimate insult, is wanting men to always be better for worse. And that's not changing regardless of, you know, whatever political or whatever climate comes in this environment. And even now with the economy, I see with a lot of women trying to spin the block and try to make it a political thing or join us and join forces because women are losing a lot of jobs. And this economic pressure with inflation, labor rates are high. You can't even get a car fixed nowadays without paying almost $200 plus in labor costs. So the costs and expenses of operating and living in a modern society is high, very, very high. So you have a lot of women that are spinning the block, but they're looking for a financial advantage or for sponsorship or to share the cost. Because just recently they were talking about men should be born in jail and earn their way out. So how do you go from men being born in jail and have to earn their way out to now all of a sudden you want to talk about let's join forces, men, and fight against the tyrannical leadership of what? Yeah, he said, as a relationship capitalist, even Asian men understand the marketplace. China has denied OnlyFans to keep the Chinese women in order and is a primary resource for Chinese men. Yeah, and they didn't want to really turn their country into a degeneracy. Because with OnlyFans, not only is that on the domestic level, but people from the international world will come in there and try and compensate and pay money and whatever to see that type of degeneracy. They don't want that shit in their country. They're a smart move. Smart move. And my thing is go get a real job and get a real career and get a real life. You know what I mean? And that's my thing with those particular women. Get a job. Isn't that what feminism fought for women not to what you call it? Sexualize themselves or whatever the hell. And they just turn around and sexualize themselves. So or be exploited. In that way, they turn around and exploit themselves. So that's what we really see now. So at the end of the day, no matter how much shame you bring towards men, if they're not getting outcome and they're getting negative lived experience, see, it's one thing to gaslight somebody if they're getting, like, if there's a contrast that goes against the talking points. So if you see those red pill guys, those passport bros, manosphere guys, and whatever, if you're to say, oh, these guys are a bunch of misogynists, they hate women, this, and that, and the men on the other side was having a experience that's contrary to what the guys are saying, then you'd be easy to shut down those movements. But if the men are having an experience, and the experience is correlating exactly what the guys are saying, then the movements are only going to get bigger, no matter how you try to shame or create this narrative or this negative thing. If men's experience are disrespect and a lack of kindness, you know, and these movements exist that are saying this is what's happening to you, then what men are logical thinkers. They're gonna say, hey, hold on here, you know. He said, so these Asian whales also have the money advantage. True. So, I mean, like, if men, you got to have something that differentiates from men's lived experience for there to be any type of men not joining certain movements or men not. What are you offering men? Because if you were to have a conversation about men's needs, it will flip back around into what men's supposed to be doing to get those needs met. You couldn't just stay on the railroad track and talk about men's needs for 1 hour without talking about what men need to be for women. Try that conversation. Try and talk about men's needs, male psychology, how to keep a man, how you treat a man in the house. How do you respect a man for 1 hour straight without the conversation be reverting back to women? Try that. Anywhere you want to try in this gynocracy. Ask any woman or any of these feminist men to talk about what men need for half an hour in relationships. Couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it because they don't care. They don't care. They don't care what men's needs are. Period. And that's how bad of a gynocracy this has gotten. So when I see these videos and I see what's going on in the culture, and I see some of these men also too, I don't know whether they're Scott Galloway's or whatever, who pays them, who's giving them money or whatever. And then I see a whole bunch of dudes who are just scared and, oh my goodness, You know, it's like crazy, right? I'd be like, what? Like, nobody says anything. Okay, I'll give you an example, right? Like, if you hear women talk about men in the culture, I'll give you an example. Like, this goes unchecked, right? They can say whatever they want to say.
This is why we are not safe.
I did post something recently and it was a meme and it said that all men should start off in prison and they have to prove their way out. And I feel like that this really is a good example of why.
You're right. Until you learn how to treat a lady in person and on the internet, you stay in jail.
So they're talking about men being born in jail.
There's a man who commented, "It's Tuesday for me." And I knew when I made this specific clip in the video, it's a little scandalous. No, it's like I'm in a silky pajama tank and I'm kind of leaned over. Men are just absolute creeps. And this is why we are not safe.
I did post something recently and it was a meme and it said that all men should start off in prison and they have to prove their way out. And I feel like that this really is a good example of why.
You're right. Until you learn how to.
Right. So they're having these types of conversations about men being started off. So men have had to deal with this nonsense for so many years. I mean, even for, especially with the Black community in America, men have been listening to crap. They're making movies like The Color Purple, depicting Black men as some monsters. Tyler Perry is always doing this trauma bonding movies where the Black guy is always a monster. Or the guys all in Hollywood, the man is always some dumb idiot, or just getting picked on or bullied or whatever else. And we've dealt with this stuff for how many years? And finally, men are just like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. And we have women still making these videos about the bear and all this other nonsense. Just, I mean, I don't understand the videos anyhow, because these women are always getting stretched out by men, especially in the community. They're always pregnant. For somebody who hates men, I don't know how they get to such high body counts. It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, they hate men, but they're always getting twisted out. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a woman would be like 4 kids from 4 different baby daddies, and she says she hates men. It makes no damn sense to me. You know, how these radicals and these feminists think. Because you may hate men, but you sure love that sausage. That's for certain. I don't get it. And that's the logic that's just completely, utterly flawed. But I'm going to get out of here. We hit the hour point. But I just wanted to point out, and I'm going to give these guys Masculinity Award of 2025, the Asian brothers, because they understand how to deal with this radical, crazy feminism that we deal with. And we have all these, at least their men stick together. Unlike these brothers out here that will roll another man underneath the bus in a second to try and score points with the ladies. Hopefully they give them a free donation of some box. Because that's what they're doing. They're just pandering to the women or pandering to the gynocracy, or some of these guys are getting paid on the side to roll men under the box, not really understanding the lived experience of the average man in the West and the daily, constant disrespect. Especially the Black men, the Black community, the worst. They get that as far as getting disrespected, telling them who to vote for, telling them who to date. They get chased around the world by slave catchers and sack watchers. Strange behaviors from men. I don't get it. And you know me, I'm more of a libertarian mindset. I have a libertarian ideology. So anything that's has to do with restricting the freedoms of law-abiding citizens, men, women, whatever else, exercising their rights. When you come and you try to treat individuals like they're on some plantation, I highly object to that. I highly object to that. And that's what I see what's happened to a lot of the men, especially the black men. Who are you to tell them who to vote for? You are crazy. Who are you to tell them who to date? Who are you to tell them how to spend their money? That's where I absolutely object to. You don't get to tell grown men who they should vote for, who they should date, or what they should believe in, or who they should marry. If you want their vote, compete for it. If you want them to date you, offer them value. But you think that dating or relationship is a welfare program? You want handouts? Compete or get left on the sideline is my philosophy. If you're not competitive, your ass get curbed. That's just the way it is. That's how capitalism works. That's how relationship capitalism works. That's how business works. If you can't compete, if you own an auto repair shops and the guy 3 shops down the way from you is fixing cars too, you better offer your customers value, or you go out of business. That's how relationship capitalism works. My theory on relationships. So if you're not competitive as a man or a woman, in terms of, especially for the women, and you're using the government, the system of simps and the matriarchy to try and suppress men into being in relationships with women that are non-competitive, or you're using shame and disrespect to keep guys locked into a plantation of options, that's a non-competitive environment. Especially guys like my brother Anton Daniel, he's a capitalist. So he should support relationship capitalism. Anton Daniels is a money guy, and he understands relationship capitalism. If the women were competing, if they were competitive, they would be chosen. It wouldn't be, especially in the black community in America, even if the black men didn't get them, men from other races would be trying to come and get them if they were competitive. They're not competitive. So nobody wants them. Well, not everybody wants them. There's some good women out here. If they were competitive, other men would be trying to get them. Have at it. Get them. Capitalism is capitalism. Go get them. That's what I would challenge my brother Anton to. If the women are so competitive and they're so great, why aren't other community of men trying to get them? Go get them. Because they're not going to want to get that heart attack. No, I'm just kidding. Let me stop saying that. Not all. I do have to show respect for the 10% women that are out here. Yeah, they're not competitive. We are forced. I mean, even the brother Kevin Samuels, one thing he did do was motivate a lot of black men to get better. He cracked the whip on black men for years before he started talking to women. The men heard what Kevin Samuels said. And even my brothers like the Sinner and guys like that are constantly cracking the whip on men. Get better. The men are hearing get better. And they're listening. I walk into the gym, I see the brothers working out. I see the brothers are trying to make money. I see the brothers are doing better. You know. Oh yeah. It's a whole different ballgame. So, and Anton Daniels knows how they treated the brother Kevin Samuels. They hate competition so much that they celebrate that man's death. That's how much they hate competitions. They hate competitions. Anton knows how they treated Kevin Samuels when he passed. They hate competition so much that they celebrate that man's death. They don't even like Anton Daniels because he challenges sometimes for them to get better. Why create a non-competitive environment is my position on everything out here. Capitalism is where it's at. In terms of relationship capitalism is my philosophy. Period. You know. Anyhow, guys, make sure you guys hit the like button. If you want to support the channel, please do. But there's no handouts out here. There is none. The best way to get what you want is actually to deserve what you want in life. Period. Shame is not going to work. Well, that's true. But I think the self-improvement, in my opinion, is going to work in terms of their long-term life expectancy, improving their life expectancy, improving their money, and allowing them to explore the world and enjoy other cultures. When I look at the self-improvement, I look at it in the form of early retirement, like the FIRE movement. Not so much for women here, but I want guys to be able to retire or have the option of global travel early. Not about women. I just want them to get the residual income that can come into them every month that will allow them to live somewhere. If they want to live in Malaysia, or they want to live in Africa, or they want to live Thailand, or they want to live somewhere else. I look at the self-improvement as far as getting residual income that grants you the freedom to live wherever you want to live and have the lifestyle you want to live. And the health aspect of it, because we have so many of our brothers that are dropping dead early because of the stress and because not taking care of their health. I look at the self-improvement from that aspect of it more than anything else, not to be with no Western women. Ooh, no. I mean, if they got the 10%, 5% women, yeah. But that's how I look at the improvement, is for the freedom that comes with the improvement. Is when I look at the improvement, for the freedom. Because I want guys to be able to say, okay, today I'm going to go live in, Ivory Coast in Africa. I'm going to stay over there for 4 months because it's cold. That's what I want the brothers to be able to do. You know, I want them to be able to move around. Maybe you don't want to do a winter in DC or New York or Philly or Boston or something. You want to do a winter somewhere where it's beautiful and nice. You need money for that. So beyond just women having the freedom, you know. My brother, Dr. L, salute, man. Salute. Exactly. So when we do this self-improvement aspect of it, that's what I was trying to tell him. Like, my brother here is retired law enforcement, just as I am. And it's about the freedom, man. You want to be able to leave and get away from this man-hating culture and just take a break, man. We want to get brothers living longer. That's my main focus, is getting brothers to live longer. And you know, I focus on things from the men's mental health perspective, because I've been in crisis intervention for so many years, even when I worked in law enforcement, and I see so many brothers dead. Like, I mean, Dr. L was a higher ranked brother. He's a captain. Like, you understand, like, when you're dealing with unattended deaths, right? Like, literally, when I started my early career, right? When I was in law enforcement on highway patrol, one of the things that bothered me was, like, how come the most concern when you're in highway patrol, you see a car with flashing lights, right? On the side of the highway, you're supposed to really stop if you're on patrol and check on that vehicle. Because you don't know what's going on. It could be a medical emergency. And one time, you know, actually a couple of times I found some people, I find like dudes dead in the car. Like a dude, diabetic shock and diabetic shock. Brother is just stiff. It's the wintertime. And I'm like a rookie, right? And dude's just dead on the side of the highway. Blood already started pooling and everything else. And it's like, you always wonder, if you had gotten here earlier, would it have made a difference? How quick did it take him to go? Or a guy get a heart attack or stroke and he's out. And I was always like, I'd be sitting there in that patrol uniform looking in dude's eyes, and I'd be like, damn. You know, and I always wonder, like, damn, we just you know, like, unnecessary. Dude be like 55, 56, you know what I mean? So that's when I talk about men improving their health. It's about the preventative aspects of leaving this earth. Nobody knows when you're going to go, but if you can do the things that can try and prolong your life. So while you see me every morning, when I'm like always trying to get to the gym and whatever else, it's about my feeling of, if you see me doing it, then it gives you the inspiration to say, you know what? If Peaceful Life's old ass can go to the gym and work out, so can I. And it's like, okay, because what you see, because what happens is this: men are always bombarded with a tremendous amount of negativity every day, disrespect, negativity, and stress. So sometimes you have to create an action that counters the negativity. So when I get up every day and you see me in my car and say, I'm going to the gym, it almost programs the mind to take care of yourself. So you know what? He's going, my turn. Let me jump in the ring. You know how guys are like, okay, he's going in, let me go in too. You might not feel like going to work out, or you might have a bad week, but you know what? I can't let Peaceful Life be in shape, and I'll be walking around here with my gut out. So I'm going to get in there too. So that's why I do that. You know, as I'm taking a video on, I'm going to the gym. I do be going to the gym, but that's really about the inspiration and passing on the energy. Because at the end of the day, regardless of all this stuff we talk about, if your health fails, you can't enjoy anything. You know, and you talk about it, yeah, you know, but salute to Dr. L, man. You know, yep, the latest study, Black male travelers reveal Black travelers live 7 to 10 years on average. Yeah, it's tough. I know, and again, it's a very you live a stressful life, you know, and the mental health aspect of the culture here, like when I go certain places, right? Like if I'm out in Laos or rural Thailand somewhere out there with the buffaloes, those people, they're totally detached from a lot of the stresses that we deal with every day. So when I go out to rural places, so I don't even, you know, I'm like, whoa, this stuff right here is peaceful. I'm sure the locals have their problems and their issues, but to be in a cold way where you're not like constantly been bombarded with the politics and the gender warfare and all the nonsense that goes on in this culture, it's incredibly peaceful for me to get up in the morning and walk down the road with some buffaloes or whatever else out in rural Thailand. I have videos of myself on my other channel out there in rural Thailand with the buffaloes, and I love it. You know, even sometimes I disappear off of YouTube for a couple of months when I go completely rogue because I get a certain level of peace, you know. But the health aspect of it is why I really try and push over to the brothers, and the financial aspect because it gives you a little bit of freedom in choice in where you want to live and how you want to live, you know. And like I said, most of even when the videos on my channel, the whole goal is to inspire men to see their value. Because what happens in this culture is we're brainwashed, this culture is brainwashing men to not really appreciate their value as human beings, or to feel lesser value, and they always have to live their life as a sacrificial animal for others. That's why I brought in Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand in a conversation about altruism. And obviously you guys don't know Ayn Rand's 1930s philosopher. And we talk about it and address this idea of altruism because the culture itself has programmed men to be these disposable tampons. And to reprogram that programming is what needs to be done, because that's to do with your self-esteem. And if you don't feel good about yourself, you're going to start making bad decisions. People that don't feel good about themselves will have low self-esteem. And that's why when I see all these game guys and all these pickup guys, if a guy has low self-esteem, you can't really, that's not something you can gain. That's an issue that needs to be corrected within themselves before you even think about all this other stuff you're talking about, you know. He said, yeah, good content, enjoy the show. I can't make some constructive criticism. Invest in some sound deadening material for the room. Even some plant or other furniture can be sound deadening. Yeah, definitely, man. And I definitely got to do that. Absolutely, man. Appreciate it. But I have to build the problem is that I don't know how long I'm going to be here in this particular environment. and I'm kind of straddling whether or not I should be moving overseas or doing something different, you know, because my boys are completely grown. So I'm trying to figure out which country I'll be. I got to visit a couple more countries for me to really find a comfortable place where I want to live right. That's why I haven't gone anywhere now for the winter time. It's because I'm like trying to figure out, should I stay, should I go, and what things I need to liquidate is the critical thing, you know what I mean? But definitely, let me see, definitely need to, if I wanted to create a studio, I'd have to have some semblance of permanency or where I'm going to actually be. I probably could put some stuff up on the wall and kind of do the sand deadening thing. That's actually a great idea, to be honest with you. I want to look into that. Let me see. Where am I at with the mic? Yeah, definitely. That's definitely something I need to look into. Oh, right here. Look, right now, Thailand and Africa, to be honest with you, I like Thailand because of their healthcare and the safety of Thailand. And things just work in Thailand. The medical care, the safety. I mean, nothing feels better. The only problem with Thailand is like, I feel like I'm in, like if you walk outside in like, let's say I'm in Udon Thani, Thailand, right? If I walk outside at 4 o'clock in the morning and go to the ATM, it's like nobody's bothering you. Like, you know what I mean? Like certain areas, I mean, everywhere has problems and issues. I'm not talking about the tourist area. Yeah, hot. What I'm looking at is like, okay, Thailand from like November to April, like do half and half. Half America, half somewhere like Thailand, or half Africa, half America. You want to split it up because the thing about being in those environments is that what happened with us as men is we have to keep ourselves busy, purpose. So if you stay there too long, you're going to start missing home. So you have to have purpose and hobbies established before you even get to these places. Before you go live in an environment for 3-4 months, you might as well just sit down at home and write out an itinerary of how you're going to manage your day. The gym, working out, whatever side hustles you have in terms of just keeping your mind busy and occupied, purpose and hobbies. I see that the Film Brothers are doing, you know, some of the online stuff. Like YouTube keeps me busy. You got to have something to do in those environments because, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, you know, I have the guys who live on Koh Samui and the islands or the beaches. I love Koh Chang. I like other places like that. You know, I have to go into Da Nang, Vietnam and other places, you know. But you can pivot from different places. A few months here, a few months there, and move around. He said, Thailand and Africa have some of the best food. Yeah, enzymes and black men's stomach. You know, other than the pork, the diets naturally break down our jiu-jitsu. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. He said, as for me, my base will be in the U.S. But I live overseas for 6 to 8 months at a time. I will not purchase property at all. Yep. Comfort of the U.S. is incomparable to other countries. That's the thing. That's why I'm like, I can do maybe 5 months, 4 or 5 months in a place like Thailand, and the other 7 months here in the U.S. You know, maybe come back in late spring, like around April, May, and then do the rest of the time here in the U.S. I have to have the mix of both. You know what I mean? Because even with Florida right now is extremely expensive and inflated. Like Florida is nice, but Florida costs a lot of money right now. You know what I mean? Maybe not so much as like, you know, and, you know, obviously with the insurance and the property insurance in Florida and all the things that are going on down there, you know, it becomes more reasonable for me to stay here and just do like a travel thing where you do partial parts of the year in a place like a Thailand, because from Thailand you can pivot. From Bangkok, it's easy to get down to Africa or other countries, Europe, Africa. Is everywhere from Bangkok. Bangkok is like the most traveled hub in the world. Is it Bangkok? Or what's the most traveled city? Bangkok, right? Bangkok or Beijing or one of those. Which one's the most traveled city? I think Bangkok, right? So from Bangkok, you can fly anywhere in the world. So it's easy to drop down into Africa or into Europe. Yeah. That's the good part about it. I know my brother Dan lives in Prong Pong. Brother Prong Pong, how do you say it? Prong Pong, down there for Sukhumvit of the BTS. I visited Dan in Bangkok. It was interesting. But he does, you know, the BTS is nice because you can just get on there, and I have still have my BTS card. My wallet's downstairs, but I still have my BTS card. But Savannaphu and the other Dongwon, Ming, or whatever the airport is down there in Bangkok is such an easy place to travel out of, man. I love it. You know, so that's the one thing I like about Thailand. Be able to get anywhere, but I wouldn't do full time. Scorching hot. Now we gotta find some other destinations, man, for guys to travel and enjoy themselves, man. You know what I mean? But you gotta invest and have the residual income. Otherwise, it's very difficult to move around or have that digital career or have certain types of assets working for you, that can position you in a good situation, But yeah, Thailand is very hot, especially like April. When you get around Songkran, you're going to be burning. That's what gets me out of Thailand. Like while I visit there, there's some heat that man, it's some real hot weather. And, don't get me wrong. Right now, with the wintertime, the biggest thing is that I like to walk outside and I like to hit the park down the river where I live at. And the winter has kind of like, it is killed. But right now, like if you go to the north, like let's say in Thailand, Nakhon Phanom, I'm not talking about, first of all, in Thailand, if you're looking at Pattaya and those places, that's not Thailand. That's a bubble. Those are bubbles. I'm talking about the actual Thailand up north and past Isan. But I don't really hang around down south unless I'm hanging out to go visit the fellas or whatever. I'm talking about down up there by the Mekong River, up by like Nakhon Phanom and all these other towns up there. I like to stay in Udon. Udon is nice. Udon, because America used to have an old military base down there during the Vietnam War. Some of the old vets are still there, trust me. And, you meet up with the brothers up there in Udon. But then I like to go up to Nam Khai and Nakhon Phanom up there, in that region, right by the border with Laos, because you can sit there and walk along the Mekong River and look into Laos. So that's what I like. And it's incredibly peaceful. And, I'm usually the only chocolate man in town. So, and I'm tall, so I'm 6'8". So everybody's like, whoa! So they actually get a kick out of me over there. Isan, you know what I mean? They get a kick out of me. They have fun with me, man, up there. I have a lot of fun. People are very kind, and it's a wonderful experience for me because they think that I'm somebody famous or something like that. It's funny. It's the funniest experience ever. What's up, Yogi Yoga? Salute to you, man. Salute to you. But I stay in the north, man. I like the north. I like rural because not only that, the temperature. The south in Thailand and the north is always cooler. Way up north, up there towards Laos, that's usually cooler. Or Chiang Mai, north, that's like northeast. Yeah, northeastern. But like, Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai and all those areas up there, except for Chiang Mai is down in that valley. So when they have burning season, it's going to be a little bit rough in burning season. But I think the best thing is to move around, maybe 3 months here, 3 months there, come back home, reset, and then head back out because I think that gives them more balance. Because again, living in America is wonderful. It's a beautiful country, man. He said you're 6'8", you don't look, yeah, 6'7", 6'8". Yeah, maybe somewhere around there. So I stand out in America. So I really stand out in those Asian countries walking around. They'd be like, ah. I'll show you a picture. The Asian guys be taking pictures with me and stuff. I don't know what they get a kick out of me for. I look like a normal guy over there. I feel normal, but to them, you know what I mean? They're like, especially when I went up in the village in the north, Ben Lang Kong and the rest of those areas up there, where the locals are mostly dark like us, like me. The locals in those areas are dark like me in northern Thailand, in those rural areas. People think that Thai people look like these white ghosts that we see. No, the locals look dark like me. And I say, so the one Thai guy's like, oh, you look like me. Yeah, yeah. What do you think, man? I think that's maybe the first time he had an encounter with, I guess, a Black American. It was, I love the expression on their face. So that those things I enjoy the most. You know what I mean? But I want guys to really enjoy their freedom, enjoy what they work hard for. You know. Yeah, he's 100K saved to the side. Nice, man, nice. And like I said, you want to be able to live free. Live free. Get the residuals. Live free. Enjoy your life. Life is short, man. And again, take a break from this male-hating culture. This is an absolute gynocentric, gynocracy, male-hating, male-bashing environment. Just taking a psychological break is enough to reset your brain. Once you get away from it, you see that some other parts of the world are kind of, you know, it's not as like outwardly as you are. You could kind of chill and find especially when you get real rural. I don't know what it is, but I'm in love with rural stuff. Put me out there with some buffaloes, I'm happy. I have no problem keeping myself busy, you know. You say you watched the old videos the other day? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was up. What was that? Like when I let me see. Where we going? This is me walking around where? I was walking around here and this is me exploring Udon. You turn the music down. This is me walking around Udon. That's down there by UD town. So that's me walking around in Thailand. This is Udon Thani, Thailand. Which is probably one of my favorite spots is Udon. They got some music on this one, though. So this is UD Town in Udon Thani. Let me see. Where am I at here? Videos.
So greetings, my early morning wake up in rural Thailand. Good morning to you guys and good morning to all my furry friends over here.
That's me with the local dogs. Everybody got dogs in Thailand. So I'm starting at this hostile right there in Isan. Yep, that's Isan.
Mike meow.
That's my little buddy right there following me around.
You cannot follow me. These dogs out here will get you. There's too many strange animals out here.
So
this is a nice little beautiful villa.
As you can see how quiet and peaceful it is in rural Thailand. And this is why, like, I encourage the brothers to get out and travel. This is me walking around in rural Thailand. This is Ben Lang Kong.
Nice here. I mean, there's a lot of travelers that can appreciate this area and this environment. there. There's a couple that just walked past me. I can show you the back of them. You know. Here we go. Yeah, see? But this is usually where I sit at, right over here. Right there towards the end is where I usually chill out at. Yeah, but don't be afraid to get out of the tourist areas and move around. And now that I've been out here, to be honest with you, it's actually more of a preference for me, considered how much I've been loved and embraced by the locals. And it's kind of strange because, you know, I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm like 6'7". So they've never seen, many of them have never seen a Black American. And even that one that's so tall, guy walks up, he's 6'7", 6'8". And even last night at the Binkan night market, I had to bend down because of the way the boots are set up. So
he said it's hot. No, it's not. It's actually that's the lake down there, but it's actually the what would be considered as their version of the winter time. So what it would be maybe 20 degrees Celsius, maybe. You know, so it'd probably be like right that particular day it was probably about maybe 75 degrees. You know, 75 degrees, 80 at the most. So I wasn't dying then. Now you go to Thailand March, April, it ain't gonna be burning up out there. But I'm out there chilling. And like I said, I like to go. Everybody thinks and they look at men that travel and they talk about passport bros and box and 304s and all that. Here's me out there in just rural Thailand chilling, looking at the culture, observing the culture, chilling, enjoying my life. It's not about women all the time. Sometimes you just need to take a break.
But you see, everybody's got their farming equipment, their farms, you know. It's a simple life. Very simple life, very relaxing. I love it.
Let's see. I think I was there for, let's see, February, March. Like 4 months. 4 months I was there. So 4 months I spent. It kind of got me through. I think I came back a little too early because, you know, sometime in late March it's still cold. You know, my ass was cold. When I came back, it was like a shock, to be honest with you. A shock to my system. So I got adapted to living out there and up in the middle of nowhere, you know. It's like it was like, whoa. I'm like, as soon as I came back here, I was like, oh man, I gotta get on the plane and get back out of here. You know, because it really, I mean, like the night markets, the fresh fruit, the vegetables, and I enjoy walking around and buying from the locals. He said, what's a compatible country is? I would say if I would say, to be honest with you, that I would say you have to find a country in Africa. You know, I don't think that what people don't realize is that would almost be like, okay, Thailand is like Pattaya is like Vegas. Pattaya is like Vegas, right? But we have a whole of America. So if you hang out in Vegas, you're going to get the Las Vegas experience. If you hang out in some parts of Thailand, they'd be like, what? Pattaya? You know? You know? I don't make it a problem. I support it. Travel, enjoy their life. Because what happens is we have a plantation matriarchal culture. I would say just travel to enjoy life, you know. Singapore I have to go to. Singapore is a little more costly, but it's definitely worth the visit. But anyhow, I've been here for an hour and 40 minutes. We'll talk more about the travel stuff, you know. But I wanted to really address just the thinking and the mindsets that you see being perpetrated against anybody who lives life freely and on their terms. Well, my next stream is probably going to be about the ladies, because they always talk about men and calling them all kinds of shameful names like tricks and all that other stuff. We're going to talk about the Gambian bumpsters and the lovely ladies that go down to the Caribbean and have experiences in life and live life on their own terms. Everybody ever heard of the Gambian bumpsters? Well, maybe I should introduce them, because somehow people are always focusing on the men. Yep, we'll have a conversation about Jamaica. We're going to have fair and balanced reporting. Why not? I can find those videos of those Gambian bumpsters, those lovely ladies, or the lovely ladies from the community. Oh, there's so many videos of you spending nice, beautiful times. And I salute you. Go enjoy your life. But anyhow, with that being said, I'm out of here. Thank you guys. Hit the like button. If you want to support the channel, please do. But we're going to move right along. I'm going to keep the content coming. So peace and blessings to you guys. I'm out.